so I've got the white gecko. Oh, no, it hasn't done that. You're live, they can hear you. There you go, you're now front facing. Hello. It's been a little bit of chaos. A little bit chaotic. Let me just get your comments down for you. There you go. Yeah. There you go. But that's pointed down. Is it enough? Up? Well, I don't know. There you go. Who's going to have a look? There you go. Hi. Bit chaotic because it locked Sarah out of Facebook, and so I was struggling to find how to get back on it. So she had to do a mad dash over the road. It's Cal today. What have I got to tell you? We're both back. What else have we got? We had new fabric in today. It's called
Nice Ice Baby.
Nice Ice Baby. So it's got like narwhals and polar bears and things on it. So Beth has put that onto the website. So go and have a look at it. It's very pretty. If you do like it and you want to add to it, we have a Lewis and Irene one which has also got bears and penguins and whales and stuff on it. Can't remember what that one's called, but have a look. Okay, so where are we? So hello everybody, welcome to Tuesday. It gets very confusing. Today we are doing week 4. I've even done week 5 as well. So depending on how this goes, because bearing in mind I was off poorly and I did this a week ago or 2 weeks ago ready. So this is the one that we're doing. Okay, so we're going to learn how to do some bobbles, and there's this wavy thing. It's supposed to look like ripples on the water. Okay, so so we're going to go through certain stages on that. Most of it you're going to have a fair idea if you're already crocheting on how to do things. So I've tried to make a better stage up. Alright, so let's find it on here. Where are we? Now, as you go through the pattern, if you're doing this with us, as you go through the pattern, it's telling you to add them together, you know, line them up and everything. But I'm finding that some of them, oh, it's not that way round, it's that way round. I had it in my head that it was that way round because you start that end. Apparently we're at the halfway mark now. So this is block 4. It's called Bobbles and Pinwheels. Okay, and you have to make 4 of these. Most of them you make 4. I think one of them you make 3. And at the end of this pattern, it starts talking about adding it to one that we've already done. Now I think we'll do all the blocking and the matching up as further towards the end, I think. I don't know. I will have a look at it and see when I get to the, you know, I've made all of these. And then we'll talk about it afterwards. You just add it to the one we did last time. Okay, so we are doing this. I am feeling so much better. I was a little bit, it was like a very heavy cold. Now, anybody that knows me quite well knows I don't do colds. I get man flu. I don't get colds. I don't deal with them. I'm still a bit croaky, but I'm definitely better. And it's good for me. I'm not good at sitting at home because I tend to be a person who sits. I'm quite happy to sit and crochet, sit and read, or something, I don't actually get motivated. I need other things in my life to make me do stuff. I had plants that we bought before I got poorly, that a couple of the sunny days I thought, I'll put those plants in pots. Can't be bothered. I'll go crochet. So I went and crocheted. And watched films mostly. Just, I don't do well without instruction. I think that's probably why we get on well, is because Sarah doesn't do well unless she's instructing, and I don't do well unless I'm being instructed. So, who's here? Everybody's coming in. It's Tuesday. Sarah doesn't do colds. No, Sarah really doesn't do colds. Sarah doesn't like. I don't understand how Sarah has not gone mad over the years with the blocked nose. Don't do well breathing. I'm not a mouth breather. I'm a nose breather. So my nose gets blocked. I'm not a happy bunny. So let's get on with it. Now we're going to need a 4 because I'm using double knit. And I think at some point we go to a 3.5. So I've got my nice posh thingies. Okay. I also wanted to go through some of the joining, sewing in ends as well at some point. But we're going to start with the bobbles. Alright. So we're going to the front overhead. There we go. Now, with our bobbles, you've had to do a chain. Alright, I'm going to put these over here. We've done the chain, so you do your starting chain and then you do your foundation row. Alright, and then you're going to take your raspberry. Now I thought I'd written it down. I have. So you're going to do your, it says in the pattern fern. I'm doing it in pistachio. If you're doing the other colourway, it would be parchment. Okay? And then we are changing to raspberry. It would be lily on the pattern, and I think it's raspberry for both. Alright? So there's my raspberry. So you're going to, bear in mind, I've got to keep looking at the pattern because I try and do it. So we're going to chain 1. We're working in a double knit, all right? A double. So we're going to chain 1. So I tend to chain 1 on the before I turn. I don't know why. I just do. I think my thingy, my yarn sits better. So we're going to put, because the chain doesn't count as 1, we're going to put our stitch into our first hole. Okay, so that's the one that we count as our stitch, like that. And I'm going to stick a stitch marker in there because I'm liking having straight ends. It makes me happy. So we've done 1 DC and now we're going to do into the next 7 stitches. Alright, so 1, 2, 2. I would like to have tried this in cotton, I think. 3, 4. Now I don't know whether you've measured them up, the bits that you've been doing, but I'm finding mine are fitting, even though mine aren't the same size as what they say on the pattern. Mine are fitting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and because I counted the first one, so you've done 1 DC at the beginning and then 7, and then we're going to add in now to do the bobble. So before you finish that last stitch, so you put it through and pull your yarn through, so you have 2 on the hook. What we're going to do is we're going to add our raspberry. Okay, so we've got to the 7th DC, and I've got not enough fingers obviously, so we're going to go through like that, and then we're going to chain it in place. Changing over to Lily on the final step of the last stitch. It doesn't say to put a chain, so we changed it to that on the last stitch. And then into the next stitch we are going to make a bobble. Okay, so you work 5 incomplete trebles, so you want to make sure that green is tightish, and we're going to go in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to travel the yarn over. Okay, so the green that I've been using, I'm going to hold that against my the top of my foundation row, and I'm going to hide the tail of the lily. I'm still far too much snot in my head for me to think, I think. Right, so you want to put your yarn over, you're going to go into the hole, and you're going to pull through your yarn so that you've got 3 on the hook. You're going to pull through 2, so you've now still got 2 on the hook. You're going to do another incomplete, so you're going to do another incomplete treble, so you're going to pull through. You've now got 4 on the hook. Is this making sense? So you're going to pull through 2, so you have 3, and you're going to keep going until you've got 6 loops on your hook. Okay, so that's 4, 5 and 6, which means that you've done your 5 incomplete, so you've got 6 on your hook. So you're going to pull through all 6, she says. There you go. So you've done that, and you've done that wrong again. Before you pull it through, change yarn shade the step before you need. Right, so I've got to try and pick all those up now. That last step before, you've got 6 on the hook, like that. That last one, you're going to bring your green up. You can bring your green yarn up, okay, and finish the stitch with the green, like that. And then you're going to do 7 draw through all the loops, carry the bobble on along the first. Right, so what we're going to do is we're now going to do another 7 doubles. Okay, so that's 1. Now what we're trying to do is travel this wool down. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see where I'm doing my stitch over, where I'm travelling the wool? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then on this last one, the 7th one, we're going to pull the yarn through. Then we're going to make sure that we're picking up the right bit of the pink, and we're going to finish that stitch with our pink. Okay, and we're going to make sure all those are up. We're going to do a 5 incomplete trebles in there. So that's 1, 2, these all go into the same hole. 2, 3, 4. Quite enjoyed doing these. They made me quite happy. 5, and then we're going to pull up our green to finish the stitch. Okay. So to get the hang of that, and as you can see, as you're going along, they're puffing out. They puff out in between. Okay, like that, out on the other side. Now, when we finish those, you would change it to the Cornish blue. Let me do another one. Alright, we'll go through and do the another one, and then we'll start back at the beginning, and I'll show you how to count your stitches for the next row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Any questions on this bit? 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 7. Done it again. You do get into a pattern if you're just sat there doing it in your head, especially if you do all 4 at a time. You know, do one stage on all 4 at a time. So we're going to carry our wool. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Okay, so that would be like that. Now when you're doing your next row, which is a teal, Cornish blue or meadow, they're just doubles again, and when you're coming to doing going in, you're going to be coming that way. Okay, you've got to make sure that you go into this stitch here and that stitch there. Okay, you've got to make sure that you go into this stitch, that stitch and that stitch, otherwise your count goes out. Alright, so this is a stitch there. Alright, so that's, and then you would just then do, you've got your Cornish blue, and then this one here is it's turquoise for us, so it's aqua, turquoise or grape. Okay, and then you come to the olive green. Alright, so any questions on that so far? Okay, the let me put that in there. Oh, we've got the olive there. So this one here, I've done my bobbles. I've done a row of the teal, and then the aqua, and I've done a row of double crochet on the on the olives. Now we're going into starting these waves. Okay, now the first one is pretty easy. You've got 7 trebles into one thing. The only difference on all of these is how you start your rows. But after you've done this row and that row, the mint row, you will you'll understand about starting the other ones. Okay, so we're going into this one. So of course we do 1 row of olive in the doubles, so you don't fasten this one off, you are going to continue it. Okay, and we're going to continue it with the 3.5 hook, because they obviously want you to have it tighter so that it fits, it doesn't bow out. Okay, so we're going to chain 1. Okay, and I'm going to turn it. So because it's a chain 1, it's not counted as a stitch, so I put my double into that first stitch there. Okay, and there's my first stitch. If anybody wants any of these stitch markers, they're on order. It should be in the next day or 2. So we're going to do another DC into the next stitch. Okay, and then we are going to skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to put 7 trebles into that stitch there. Alright, so it's 1, and they're full trebles, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's my ET finger keeps makes it quite loose, the way I hold my yarn. I think that's why I'm a loose crocheter. Everybody goes on about how, oh, I don't hold it properly. We all hold it different. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got 7. So you're going to skip 2 stitches. And the reason that you skip the 2 stitches is because the treble is, as it fans out, it covers those 2 stitches. Can you see? See how it covers the stitches that you're skipping. So you skip 2 stitches, and then you're doing a double into the next 3, which makes your valley. You'll see it's valid in a moment. Ha ha. Okay, then you skip 2, 1, 2, and then 7 into there, and you're going to do that all the way along. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Skip 2, put in 3. 3 doubles in 3 stitches. Okay, so you can see now that we're getting our hills and valleys, a hill and a valley. Okay, here's one I did earlier. Okay, so we've got hills and valleys all the way down to the bottom. Now at the bottom, at the other end, you're going to finish your hill and you're going to do 2 doubles. Alright, so before you finish that final double, we're going to change the colour to the mint. So it's mint, duck egg or mocha. Sounds quite Welsh, isn't it? Mocha. Okay. So with our final stitch, we're going to bring it in our duck egg, mint, mocha, and put in your chain to hold it, okay, like that. And then we're going to turn it over and we're going to put 3 chains. So I've done 1, 2, 3. Okay, now that one actually counts as a stitch, so you don't want to go in here for the next one, you're going in here. Okay, so in the next one we're going to treble 3 together. Okay, so you're going to put in and do your incomplete. It's a bit like a bobble. Okay, we're going to go back in and do another one, and back in and do another one, like that, and then you're going to finish them all off. No you don't. Yeah you do. Finish them all off like that, and then you're going to put in 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. Now I think it's that chain that makes it not turn into a bobble. It doesn't, because you're giving it space to fan out, it stops it bobbling. Whereas with the pink ones that we did, you bobble them because you're squashing it all into that one little space there. You're keeping it in one space so it doesn't have room to spread. I think that's what it is, and that's what I'm sticking to. Hiya Melba, how are you? Right, so we've done our 3 chain, and then we're going to DC into the next 3 stitches. Okay, so you're going to go 3 stitches. 1. No it isn't. No it isn't. Yeah. Just seems like a... Don't seem to be very far up. 3 chain. Excuse me, 3 chain. Oh, yeah, that's what I've done wrong. I knew I wasn't far enough up the hill. Right, so let's do this again. We've done our 3 chain. You're now going to treble 3 together over the next 3 stitches. Okay? And I'll show you a lot of listening. So, incomplete, then go into the next one. I knew I wasn't travelling far enough up the hill. So you're going to do like we did with the bobbles, but you're making it travel. Okay? Over like that, and then you're finishing it off like that. So you have a fan. Whew. Right, so we're going to go into the next 3 stitches. I knew they should be at the top. No, it was 3 chain, wasn't it? Right, if I haven't confused you enough so far. 1, 2. This is the thing with doing it live. I watch these people doing it, but they've recorded it. So if they go wrong, they just turn it off. Right, so I've done 3 stitches. We're now going to do 3 chain. 1, 2, 3. And then we are going to do 7 trebles together. So over the next 7 stitches, we're going to do incomplete trebles. Okay? So going to the next one. So there's 1. So I've got 2 on the hook. 2. 3 on the hook. 3. 4 on the hook. So you yarn over through your whole stitch, pick up your yarn, pull it through and go through the first 2 loops. Okay? And you're going to end up with 8 loops. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 loops, 7 loops, 8 loops, 3 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you're going to go through all of these like that, all the way down, and then do 3 chain. 1, there, 1, 2, 3. So can you see? We've got, I always think of it like a volcano, all spilling out. So we've done our 3 chain. We're going to do 1, 2, 3 doubles into the next 3 stitches. We're doing 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, which gives you room to move without getting too tight. And then we're going to do 7 trebles, incomplete trebles. So with 7 trebles together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so you've got your incomplete, you've got 8 loops, 8 loops on your hook, and you're going to wrap the yarn over and pull it through all 8. Sometimes I love it when it all goes through in one go, and then you anchor it with 3 chain. 1, 2, 3. So you would keep going all the way down. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Stick that in there and stick it in without splitting the wool too much. There we go. So you would just keep going with that. Alright, and then as you come back, you're going to change it to teal, which is Cornish blue. I'm not sure what it is on the other one. I didn't write that one down. It was a bit silly of me, wasn't it? You're going to do teal. Yeah, which is Cornish blue. And you're just going to keep building them up. Make sure that you read the beginning carefully, because you will start them all different. Like we started this one with chain and then 3 together. The one before was a double. This one, the next one up, is going to be 3 chain and then 3 treble. They're all different at the beginning, but this bit your hills and your valleys are basically the same. Okay, so that's that bit, and you're just going to keep going and going and going. Now, why have I stopped there? I think that's about it. They're all the same. Once you get to this bit, you do row 9. Row 9 is exactly the same as the as this first one, I think, and then you're going to repeat. So you then repeat it up to, you're going to repeat each line. So you go up to the olive. Then these lines here, they talk about you repeating them with row 10, 11, 12 are repeats of the ones below. So you just keep going back and forth. And I think then you're just going back up into your doubles. Up here, this this stitch here, let's go on to the pink stitch up here, is a double, a chain, skip a stitch, a double, a chain, skip a stitch, and you just go all the way along like that. Didn't we do that on one of the others? So that's it basically for this one, and it's just a repeat. You just keep repeating and repeating until it's finished. I can't work out why I stopped at that point. There must have been something I wanted to tell you, but can I work out what it is? Because it's just a repeat of the others, I think. I wanted to show you sort of what I do, rightly or wrongly, okay? Imagine that there are a few different ways of sewing in the ends. I kept one for sewing in the ends in a circle, I think. There we go. Right, so there are lots of different needles out there. You know the needles that, knitters needles, there are different types. I have 2 different types at home. I've got the knitter's needle, which is the metal one, which is one I prefer, and there is this one which will hold a larger piece of yarn, I would imagine. But for sewing in, I tend to find you have the best way of sewing in is to follow where your wool has been. Okay, so you're just sewing it in. Now, if I've got something like this where they've been the stitches are really close together, I tend to follow that. Okay, I go in. I also crochet over bits of yarn, which then hold it together. Then going back just a few stitches so that it catches on itself. Alright, like that. I think I went back to the beginning. And then just snip it off. Okay, now I will have crocheted all that in as I went round. So with some of these, they'll have been crocheted in. With this one, I would take this one and follow it back up. Can you see here where my stitch is? I would follow it up and go in there, like that. So it's following my stitch, and I would do this on the back side. Okay, and then I would come back down through like that. There's another bit of a stitch there. I would come back down through there, and then I would you're not changing the stitch then on the front. And I would take it down through there, like that, not pulling too hard, and then I would take it back through there, and eventually it'll catch on itself. Now I'm sure if you went back through to the Liliana, Sarah will have shown you about doing stitches as well, on how to bury your ends. Okay, with the pink ones for me would be easier, the pink and the yellow, because there's so many stitches there. You see by there, I've already been burying the yellow as I'm doing my pink stitches. So I would take that one and go back through. Now if you catch it on this one, so that if you go through that stitch that's there, you see that bit of stitch there? So if you go back through there and then go through, it's caught on it. It's not going to thread back through on itself. I'll just snip that one off there. People say, oh, but my ends, how are they going to stay in there? The wool will hold most of them in. If stitches come out, just re-sew them back in. So I would bury them like that. On these ends, I would follow my stitches. So I want one that's fairly long. Yeah, that one's quite long. So I would go back with and follow my stitches. Now we're on the back side of this. Okay. So where am I? I'm on that one. So I would go through these stitches here, like that. Like I say, this is how I do it. Wrongly or rightly, this is the way that I do it. So I'm going to bury it in there, like that. And there's a stitch there that I can go up through. And go up through that one there. And go back through there. There you go. So I would hide it like that and then snip it off. Remember this lot here, we're going to be sewing into the others. Alright, I don't know whether that's helped any at all, because you've all gone quiet ages ago. 20 minutes ago you all went quiet. I will see you. It'll be because we're a week behind. It'll be Crochet Along next week. Sarah's back tomorrow with Block of the Week. I'm sure all you sewers out there will be happy about that. And any questions about any of this, give me a shout. I hope I haven't confused you too much. Next week, this is the one we're doing. This is a lot more exciting. Okay, so we shall be doing that next week. All right, next Tuesday. I'll see you soon, and you take care. All right. Bye bye now. Oh, that's not what I want. That's what I want.